when you first met Tyler and first impressions of Tyler upon training camp?
Well, obviously met him 2 years ago. Like every Bantam kid, they're usually pretty quiet when you're talking to them. It's hard to get anything out of them. But he was a nice kid. He was polite. Yeah. I actually met him here at the BMO Center a couple of years ago, and he had mentioned to me that he was looking at the prep school route, and so education was important to him. Potentially wanting to play college hockey one day.
As far as play style, what did you first think of Tyler, and what kind of player do you think he was?
He's a shooter. Loves shooting the puck. He's got a great shot, greet release. He's got a real nose for the net. He has a real hunger to score goals.
You mentioned before when you guys kind of have meetings at the beginning of the season. How did you guys meet and go together, and what kind of goals did you set for him?
Tyler always had it in the back of his mind that he wanted to go to prep school. Before he ended up with our program, I know he was looking at them. So we discussed that at times, and I think college hockey is kind of the route that he wants to go. And we set goals, personal goals for him. As far as long-term goals, I think heading to prep school is what he wanted to do.
Just expand on the strengths that you mentioned about earlier. Just exactly what kind of hockey player he is. What makes him such a great hockey player?
I think his best quality is just his desire and drive and hunger to get better. And when the game's on the line, he wants the puck on his stick. He's a guy that wants the puck. He doesn't shy away from that spotlight. He wants to be a difference maker at all times.
As a player that has gotten recruited and has really, like you said, been thinking about going to prep schools and stuff like that, did he take on any leadership roles at all this year, or is he lead by example kind of player, or a very vocal kind of person?
He's vocal, he leads by example as well. Tyler's a fiery guy, he's a competitor. That's one thing that I learned about him 2 years that we had him here. He's got a competitive drive that not a lot of kids have on the ice, and I think that's one of the best traits about him and why he had such success with us this year.
Are there any weaknesses that you saw earlier on in the year that you can really tell us that how hard he worked to kind of fix those mistakes and throughout the year to get better at?
He's always been an offensive player, so we've talked a lot about his defensive game. I think he's gotten better at that, and knows when to take chances, not to take chances, and I think he became a much more responsible defensive player as the year went on, for sure.
How important is that for forwards that are used to just being great goal scorers? Like you mentioned, he's a great scorer, has a nice shot, to play a 200-foot game. Preach that to players.
Yeah, eventually, at some point in time, if you don't play a complete game, your hockey career is going to end. So it's important, something we stress. We want our players to play 200 feet and buy into all the team things that we're doing, and it's not all about just scoring goals and glory of getting points and things like that.
You talked about just weaknesses and how you explain to him certain things. How well does he take criticism, and how is it easy for him to just grasp the concept of trying to get him and take it out on others?
He's a bright kid. He's definitely coachable. He understands systems and concepts and things like that. He's like any teenage boy. He has his ups and his downs, but he's very receptive to feedback. Anything that we ask him to do, he'll certainly give it his best shot in practice or a game.
If you had a scout to email you or at the game, just maybe little things that people always don't notice about him, but what are some things about Tyler that you want people to know that he does on the ice?
With Tyler, biggest thing is just his competitive nature. That I keep going back to that. I truly believe that that's why he's going to have success, and he had success at our level. Is just he's got a drive to succeed and wants to win, and will do anything to be successful. So that would be the biggest thing with Tyler. He just has a drive that a lot of kids this age don't have. I think he's a personal guy in the dressing room. Again, at times his competitive nature can take over, and sometimes he'll have to rein that in a little bit, but he's a very personable kid. I know he away from the rink, he was always hanging out with teammates. He was going to movies or going for a bite to eat, or the boys coming over to his house in the summertime, things like that. He's a good teammate, so I don't see any problems with him wherever he ends up, blending in with his new teammates.
What's the next step for him to be a more complete player, to get to the next level, even to get better as a player?
But I think he just needs to keep working hard, spend a lot of time in the gym. I think it'll be good for him. He spent 2 years with us. He'll get a new set of coaching staff that'll be able to teach him new things that we weren't able to teach him here. It'll be good for him, it'll be a new beginning and a fresh start. And he showed everybody that he genuinely is a good kid and a good teammate. And that's the biggest thing I think I'll be proud of him for. It's not what he did on the ice. It's how he conducted himself around his teammates, and again, I really enjoyed coaching him because he's got a competitive spirit that you don't see every day. He bled red and yellow for us for 2 years. There's no question about that. As far as competitive drive, he would probably be in the top 5 kids I've ever coached.